Hi everyone, my name is Angelica Moreno, and today we will be taking a look at virtual reality in education, more specifically in the classroom and what that looks like. So today we're going to dive into seeing what virtual reality is, the benefits and educational experiences with virtual reality, how educators are using it today. We're going to take a deeper look into virtual reality, and then as well we are going to look at some advantages and disadvantages and some tips teachers can use and consider when creating lessons. Today, throughout the lesson, you might be hearing me refer to virtual reality as VR, but it's initially the same thing, just abbreviations. So the big question, what is virtual reality? As I was doing my research, I came across this definition that describes virtual reality very well, and it reads as, virtual reality is a term used to describe a three-dimensional computer-generated environment which can be explored and interacted with by a person. That person becomes part of this virtual world and immersed within the environment and is able to manipulate objects and perform a series of actions. Before we dive into details of how VR in education will help improve the learning process, it's important to understand why we need to improve the quality of education in the first place. So initially, technologies designed to aid learning have been aimed at enabling access to information. So this would be facts and observations about the world. Before computers, we had a powerful tool that helped us retain facts, which was books. And while knowledge has become more easily able for people to access, the current approach for education has two significant problems. These problems include it's based on the same old format, fact retention, and then also a lot of people have difficulties comprehending the information in the first place. So the question is, what makes virtual reality beneficial? And overall, to answer this question, VR can be used to enhance student learning and engagement, which is something all of us would love from our students. We can go ahead and take a deeper look. It creates a better sense of place. Many times students do not only want to learn or read about something, but oftentimes they want to experience it too. Using VR allows students to go beyond textbook descriptions and illustrations, and they're able to explore and see how things are put together. Scale of learning experiences. This will give students a great opportunity of learning when it comes to science. Something as small as a VR device can provide students with the whole science lab, and sometimes schools aren't able to provide this for students. They are able to learn by doing. Although we know that students learn best by doing, that is not always the case in today's educational system. Many times students are forced on reading instructions rather than practicing them. VR in education provides an experience connected to the instruction that we are giving them. This gives students an opportunity to explore and discover on their own. Emotional reaction. Although it might sound repetitive, VR does make it easy to engage students the whole time, making experiences memorable, therefore allowing them to connect and absorb information at a greater level because they are building that connection, that experience, those emotions with the information they are given. They're able to develop creativity. I know I mentioned higher levels of learning and engagement, but VR also provides students with a chance to enhance their creativity. There are tools such as Tilt Brush that help students enhance their creativity. Visual learning. So VR is a great tool for many students who are visual learners. So this will meet their need at a greater level. This allows visual learners to comprehend information better rather than just reading or hearing it. VR also creates as many possibilities that students can experience. Some of those experiences are virtual field trips, high-tech training, internships, group learning, and distance learning. For virtual field trips, one of the things that I really enjoyed and loved while I was doing my research is that students can go anywhere in the world that we will want them to or they want to go to. This is great. Being in the special education field, oftentimes our students are not able or are not allowed to go to field trips because of their needs. And this will be a great way to allow our students in the special education field to experience what other students are experiencing. So next we are going to see how educators are using virtual reality in their classrooms today. I will be referring to these three educators by their first letter initial, just so I do not mess up their name. So to begin with, Miss D, she is a science and technology teacher at a religious day school that serves preschool to 8th grade students. This year, she has incorporated VR into her technology class for 8th graders, which focuses on digital storytelling. The class is integrated with other subjects students are learning about, such as history, reading, writing, and Jewish studies. Following a unit of video production, including how to create a storyline and storyboard, students learn how to use Unity and Euphoria in order to produce their own stories using VR. At the end of the unit, students shared their graphic novels with VR components at a school book club event for parents. Families talked about novels and other books students were reading, while the EDUC Go headsets were available to parents so that they can experience the environments their children had created. Next, we have Mr. H. He is a 3rd grade teacher at a public elementary school where he integrates virtual reality into his social studies curriculum. He mostly does it around geography, ocean life, and history. During a unit on geography and ocean life, students use VR to explore coral reefs in order to see and grasp the environmental consequences of coral bleaching. Mr. H explained that the greatest challenge in using VR in his classroom was with figuring out the best way to manage the logistics of using VR with almost 30 young students who had never used the technology before. It took practice and patience, but it was something that they were able to overcome and eventually use. Lastly, we have Mr. C, who is a director of digital learning and media for a county-wide school district. He was describing in an article that I read that his most successful use of VR as a collaboration was with a middle school math teacher and librarian, where they designed a mathematics lesson. For this unit, students needed to design and construct a water park according to specific parameters using original vision of the Minecraft on a shared multiplayer server. Mr. C helped to connect multiplayer server with the Minecraft, a modification to Minecraft, which allows students to enter and explore their shared world and theme park at a scale using HTC Vive VR headsets. So that was super cool. So there's 3 different ways that teachers have used it for different subjects, which is really neat. It gives us a perspective and an eye-opening to see how we can use VR in our classroom. Next, we are going to take a deeper look into virtual field trips. So there are many virtual field trips you can take your class on, just depending on the site that you find. I personally found virtual field trips for remote learning, free online learning escapes from COVID-19. There are a lot of virtual field trip websites, but I personally found this one the easiest to navigate through, with many different locations you can use for your classroom. Later in a screen recording, you'll see that you can even visit the Great Wall of China. There is a section where you can play the auto recording of it, just depending if your students want to hear that, which would be a great tool because they're giving you information on Great Wall of China, so what you're seeing, they'll be talking about it. And then later you can see a screen recording of Disney World. So I think that's cool. It gives students an experience, although they're not able to go there physically. They may be able to still get similar experiences like other students may have. They may be hearing their classmates talk about going to Disneyland and how much fun it is. So this will give them an opportunity just to experience Disneyland, Disney World in general, a little bit. I know it's not the same, but it just gives them an opportunity to experience that, which I thought was pretty cool. That website or that YouTube channel for Walt Disney World is fairly new, but they do have a ton of videos to pick from, so that's awesome. Just like any tool, any resource, any new skill, anything that you include in your lesson, in your classroom that is new, there are advantages and disadvantages. So for virtual reality, some advantages are providing outstanding visualizations. It creates interest. It increases students' engagement, does not feel like work, it improves the quality of education in different fields, and eliminates the language barrier. Some disadvantages of virtual reality is that it does take away that human connection that students create when they are in person or face-to-face in these environments. A lack of flexibility. There are functionality issues, addiction to the virtual world, and then sometimes it is quite expensive. And just to conclude, I want to give 5 tips to consider when using virtual reality and incorporating it into your classroom. So first, be selective when it comes to what students play. Next, focus on giving students experience rather than delivering content alone. Think of it as an engagement tool and not necessarily a silver bullet for learning. Use virtual reality as an empathy builder, but be wary when it comes to young students. And then also play it safe by eliminating virtual reality to short experiences. So ultimately, we want to provide our students with the best, most engaging, most fun experience and learning lesson. However, we do want to consider their safety, their feelings, their emotions, especially for students that are younger and in special education. So just being aware of what their needs are, what their surroundings are in this virtual reality. And then here I do have a list of references just in case any of you want to go and research or read a little bit more about anything that I talked about. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to go ahead and state them in the comment section, and I'll go ahead and try to answer them as best as I could. Thank you so much.